Warriors make 3 moves before the opener, plus injuries to Curry and Draymond. Speak up, Dub Nation. Urgent. The Warriors just made 3 roster moves, and that changes our debut. I'm following everything closely, and, like you, I want to see this team fighting at the top. There's good news and bad news about Curry and Draymond, and that directly impacts the starting quintet. Who was cut, who was promoted, and who could get surprise minutes today? What's more, the third movement reveals a choice by Kerr that almost no one noticed, and it could decide the opening match. Take a deep breath, because I'm going to show you how these decisions affect the rotation and our ceiling for the season. Let's get straight to the point. If you enjoy straight-to-the-point Warriors content, leave a like now and subscribe to the channel. This helps Dub Nation get here and motivates me to bring more analysis on game day. Hit the bell to receive up-to-the-minute updates on Curry, Draymond, and the rotation. And comment, which of the 3 movements surprised you the most? Stay with me because I'll show you how this changes the debut. Dub Nation, take a deep breath with me. The countdown is over. The door to the regular season is opening, and on the other side is the classic that has always moved audiences, Golden State Warriors x Los Angeles Lakers. Today, I want to talk to you calmly and clearly, as I do in the channel's videos, without pyrotechnics, without rushing, but with all the emotion and care of someone who has followed every detail of this team for years. Let's go together to understand what happened behind the scenes in the last few days, understand the squad changes, contextualize the financial decisions, review the injury situation, and of course, talk about what changes on the court when the ball goes up. I want this video text to be your pocket guide to the season opener. If in the end it leaves you more prepared, more confident, and more excited for the initial jump, mission accomplished. And I'll tell you, I'll ask you for comments along the way, because part of the magic of following the Warriors is building this conversation together, with arguments, with respectful disagreements, and with that energy that only Dub Nation knows. The night before that felt like a championship final. Premiere Eve has its own flavor. Anyone who has experienced other openings knows it's just one game, but it concentrates expectation, curiosity, and often doubts accumulated from the preseason. It is the stress test that reveals what was just in speech and what is ready to be translated into execution. And this Warriors x Lakers has extra ingredients, roster adjustments, difficult decisions due to the salary cap, players in different physical stages, and a simple question that always comes up. How does this team want to win games from now on? It's no exaggeration to say that the preview week was intense. The front office adjusted pieces on the board, the coaching staff rehearsed real rotations, and we followed each step, from the presentation of uniforms to the definition of who will or will not go to the game. I'll go in parts. The City Edition is a symbol that goes beyond fabric. Let's start with a light moment. The new City Edition uniforms. The town look, a different chromatic proposal, drawing on nuances of brown and gold. Uniforms don't win games, but they help tell the story of a team and the community around it. It's aesthetics with meaning, and I like it when the club chooses to pay homage to its roots. In the video, I always ask for your rating. Here I do the same. What is your assessment of City Edition? A, B, C, D, or F? Leave it in the comments because I like to come back after the match and see if the score changes when the team plays well wearing the new shirt. Yes, that happens. The cut that affects emotions, but doesn't change the plan. Seth Curry. Now let's move on to the subject that most moved the conversation. Seth Curry's temporary departure. Yes, that's the verb. If you follow the league's financial news closely, you were already expecting something in this direction. If you are guided more by what you see on the court, you may find it strange. Then I organize my reasoning. Seth went to training camp with an Exhibit 9 contract, a common format for veterans that the team wants to test in the routine, in the playbook, in the dynamics of the locker room. His technical performance was never the question mark. We all know what he delivers. He is an elite three-point shot specialist. He had an atypical year recently with a drop in performance, but his entire career supports his reputation. When the ball arrives at pace and in space, the net swings. The tactical fit is evident in formations that require spacing, especially those where you want to open the corridor for a winger to attack the rim. or free up the high pick and roll for Steven. So why dismiss it now? The answer is chap. The Warriors are under the strict rules of the new salary environment, with a hard cap and the shadow of the second apron hanging over any decision. In short, every additional dollar needs to fit into a funnel, and the math at the beginning of the season is cruel because a veteran's minimum contract, even a minimum, adds up to the top. The solution that the board designed is known. Postpone the signature to a point in the calendar at which the salary starts to be prorated. With fewer games to play, the value only captures the remaining fraction of the season, and the fit is possible without breaking the barriers. The technical range for this movement to become viable is mid-November. Depending on how the sheet evolves, incentives, adjustments, some other micro-movement, it could slip to the beginning of December, guaranteeing a safety margin against the apron. I know it's frustrating to see the name Curry off the list, especially on the eve of a classic, but it's important to look at the entire picture. The idea is not to give up the piece, but to bring it to a financially sustainable moment. Medium-term planning. And on the court, where does Seth fit in when he returns? Imagine trios with Steven alongside, or minutes in which he shares the court with defensively strong wingers. Someone like Jonathan Kaminga in mismatch hunter mode, plus a versatile defender to cover, and a big with mobility for the short roll. Seth's role is known: punish help, punish lazy closeouts, stretch the opponent's defense until it breaks the target. He won't be your leader in rebounds. He won't organize half the court, and he won't nullify the best ball handler on the other side. He is there to increase the gravitational pressure of the three-point line and turn half an opportunity into 3 points. A well-used specialist changes scores in sequence, the silent movements that sustain the rotation. LJ Crier and two-way waves. LJ Crier's cut was also on the agenda, and here the reading is different. The bodyguard of the structure is the G League. Fans often think of lost space, and I like to rephrase it: changed track. Exhibit 10, two-way, camp contracts, everything is part of a pipeline in which the Santa Cruz Warriors operate as a living laboratory. The most realistic plan for Crier at this point is to consolidate volume and consistency there. The self-talk that he is going to destroy in the G League indicates a goal: to turn what he already does well into a routine. Shooting, reading pick and rolls, decision-making on both sides of the court. If you stack up convincing games, the upper door opens, sometimes faster than we imagine, because the season calls for replacements. The 3 two-way seats are currently occupied, and none of those seats appeared threatened. It's a photograph of the now. What happens afterwards depends on performance, the health of the main cast, and how everyone makes the most of their time in the laboratory. Keep this in mind. The G League is not exile, it's a trail. Injuries, doubts, and the art of managing minutes. Every opening night, there is a parallel spreadsheet that matters as much as the playbook: availability. The last 48 hours have been a roller coaster of signals. There was good news: participation in training, clinical evolution, concrete possibility of being available. There was bad news: confirmation of an important embezzlement. And there was the gray part: players classified as questionable, a decision close to the game. I'll deal with what weighs most today. Moses Moody is a felt absence. Calf is a treacherous region. Rushing back is inviting disaster. And no one in San Francisco wants to risk turning a one-off absence into a months-long soap opera. Moody was coming off a preseason that suggested a step forward in shooting and defensive discipline at the point of attack. Losing this piece precisely against a rival that demands firm exchanges on the perimeter and constant contestation hurts. But it's a mature decision. The good news is the optimistic expectation about names that have trained and advanced in status. Even if they enter with minutes restrictions, their simple presence changes the logic of the rotation. The message here is one of intelligent prudence. Whoever goes to the game must go in a position to help. Whoever needs a few more days, let it be preserved. The season is long, and giving up a little now to reap health in January and March makes a difference. The rookie looking like a useful piece. Why watch Will Richard? Few topics excite me as much as seeing a young man use the preseason as a springboard for real minutes. Will Richard is that case. What convinced me most was not the isolated statistical line, 13 points here, 3 steals there, but the context. Volume of three-pointers without hesitation, reading of the passing line, courage to compete for offensive rebounds, and above all, posture. There are rookies who ask for permission to exist on the court. He didn't ask. Wing defense requires coordination, feet, torso, hands, patience. Richard showed instinct to deny the first action and force an uncomfortable decision from the ball handler. In a squad that will need for some time to compensate for absences on the perimeter, this is worth its weight in gold. And the throw, even with a beginner's natural oscillation, has mechanics and confidence ants. Two elements that the coaching staff usually encourages. If the ball arrives clean, shoot. Prediction for the premiere: I'm not going to promise a storm of minutes, but I wouldn't be surprised if the rotation called him in early, especially in windows where defending the wing and switching in blocks is a priority without losing the corner threat. If he stays solid in positioning and discipline, his night grows. And here I want you in the conversation. What is your level of confidence in Will Richard to contribute now? Scale from 1 to 100, 1 for safe, it's still early, 100 for can start games during the season. I want to read your note and, more importantly, your justification, how the pieces fit together against the Lakers. Talking about the Lakers is talking about physical imposition, rebounding, and a half-court game that, when it finds a rhythm, wears out. The Warriors' response involves three fronts. Pace with purpose. Accelerating for the sake of accelerating is not enough. We accelerate when there is a numerical advantage or defensive imbalance. The objective is to prevent the opposing defense from calmly setting up the entire field. Conscious spacing. This is where specialists like Seth, when he returns, and the supporting pitchers make a difference. In the debut, without him, the responsibility is distributed. Sharp corners, 45 to grind ready to react to drive and kick, and telepathy with Steven in short transitions. Collective rebound. If there is no absolute dominator on the board, rebounding is a task for 5. Guards closing the box in the weak side, wingers committed to sealing, and the first quick pass to explore the open court. The starting rotation can bring conservative choices, controlled minutes for those returning from physical discomfort, a bench called earlier in the first quarter, small test units to map matchups. In opening play, adjustment is the key word. The foreground rarely goes through 4 periods intact. Whoever reads the game, best wins. Why the financial decision does not diminish sporting ambition. I want to return to the topic of the chapter for a moment because it tends to lead to hasty conclusions. I hear phrases like, if the team wanted to be champions, they would pay whatever it took. The problem is that, in the new CBA, there is no longer any pay what it takes, without concrete operational consequences, movement restrictions, exception restrictions, salary aggregation limitations. It's not just a more expensive receipt, it is a regulatory cage. What I see in the Warriors, in this window, is a pragmatic choice, valuing each resource and saving flexibility for November and December when the market is already starting to show where there is opportunity and where there is a trap. Bringing Seth in at the right time is part of this design. Preserving the 15th slot until it fits without colliding with the apron is another part. You may disagree with the path, and that's okay, but it has internal coherence. The role of the fans in the premiere. Yes, you influence the game. Noise changes defensive communication. Patience with a newbie changes confidence. Drawing sober conclusions after 1, 2, 3 games changes the quality of the debate. It's a sincere request. Let's analyze what actually happens on the court before decreeing absolute truths. The season is a body in motion. What is an adjustment today, tomorrow could become an identity. And the reverse is also true. It's the charm and torment of 82 games. What to watch, move by move, to accompany you on the broadcast, whether on TV, radio, or on our live stream. I leave you an observation guide. First possessions. Who is looking for who? Which matchup do the Warriors want to explore? Corner shot. Does it come in early? If you fall in the first 6 minutes, the opposing defense will give you help and open the box for cuts. Unforced turnovers. Magic number is 1 digit per time. Above that, you deliver free counterattacks. Second bedroom rotation. Which unit holds the boat while Steven rests? You win a lot of regular season games here. Long rebound. Three-pointers that hit the rim and fly to the 45-degree. Those who anticipate are one step ahead. Bottom ball, exits drawn after technical timeout are a thermometer of organization. 2 clean runs in a row indicate that the team is listening to the bench. Expectation is different from anxiety. It's natural to mix feelings. The desire to see victory right from the start is enormous. But what separates a mature analysis from pure euphoria is understanding that the first week answers some questions and not all. The Warriors you will see today already have traces of what they want to be, but they will still adjust the rotation, look for chemistry between quintets, and calibrate shooting volume per player. And yes, sometime in November, if all goes according to plan, Seth Curry should show up on the bench, grab his clipboard, come in with 2 lights out, and remind us why a specialist can rewrite an entire period with 4 made shots. Until then, the team needs to build victories with what it already has: tactical discipline, execution, patience in possession, and energy on the rebound. Your turn to take the court with me. I want to close with 3 questions for you to leave in the comments, as if we were live, eye to eye. Grade for the City Edition: A, B, C, D, or F, and why? Level of confidence in Will Richard for the rotation in the first week, 1 to 100. Scenario for Seth: do you prefer signing on the first possible day of November, even with a tight margin? Or do you advocate waiting until December to guarantee a break in the apron? He writes, I read everything. Respond and take the best arguments to the next video. This is how we build a channel that thinks about the game in depth, without losing the pleasure of the stands. Before the ball goes up tomorrow, there's broadcast, there's halftime analysis, there's a tactical table after the game. Bring your water, your shirt, your score prediction. I take the whiteboard, the cuts of the best moves, and the synthesis of what worked and what needs correction. If you're new here, sign up. If you're already at home, share this text with those who are now following the NBA again. The beginning of the season is always an invitation. Choose to be close. Really follow and enjoy every aspect of the story. The premiere is today. Dub Nation. May the court confirm the preparation. May the energy of the crowd drive each close out. May patience overcome anxiety. And that, when the lights go out and the final siren rings, we can say together what you already know. Let's go, Dubs. And now, the first step of the season begins with you choosing to inform yourself better than the competition. If you want to understand why a substitution changes the game, how a defensive adjustment creates 3 points out of nowhere, and where the match is really won, in the details, then the next click is mandatory. Access the Warriors analysis playlist and dive into post-game tactical x-rays, whiteboards with designed sets, matchup readings, player evolution tracks, rotation thermometers, and commented shot maps. It's content to see what most only see the next day. Click now on Warriors Analysis, save to favorites, start with the most recent episode, and binge watch. Arrive at the next game 1 step ahead with a coach's vision and the energy of the stands. Warriors Analysis: play, study, and victory.